Okay, so this is my full loadout. This is if I have worst case scenario, we're going to do a QR for something like that, and we're in a very intense firefight. We have a lot of drones in the area. We have a lot of mortars, artillery, things like that. I'm worried about a lot of shrapnel and things like that coming at me. You'll see full coverage from the arms down to the thighs, down to the groin. You'll see all that coverage there, as well as full body here. Hello everybody, my call sign is Legion. I am from Washington State in the United States. Today we're going to go over my loadout kits for various operations, whether we're doing reconnaissance, we're doing a sniper mission, or we're doing QRFs or something of that nature, or even just holding positions. So we'll start off from the top and work our way down through all of my kit. We'll end off on the rifle. It's kind of my fun area to go through. So starting off with the helmet, I use an atomic defense helmet, and the reason I use an atomic defense helmet is because it takes some AP rounds. Last I checked, I believe it was 7.62x39 AP rounds. So for me, that's more than adequate. I wanted something a little bit more than just shrapnel protection for that. On the top, I've got a Wilcox for my retention lanyard there, Neurodos for the mount, and this is actually Ukrainian made. It doesn't have a brand name, just says made in Ukraine, but this actually is a nice off for my PVS-14, just a throw over mount, and it's polymer. The reason I like the polymer is it's lightweight. All this gear adds up, it's considerable. So with all the extra grenades, all the extra ammunition and magazines, I want to lower that weight as much as possible. Also, the atomic defense helmet is incredibly lightweight for what it is. Absolutely love it. Again, PVS-14. I rock a single PVS-14, and the reason I rock a single PVS-14 is I've used, binos, but the problem is if you start to get into different situations, or if you're using a thermal and you're switching back and forth from thermal to your night vision, it's difficult transition when you're using binos. At least for me, it's difficult. The PVS-14, I like it. It's one battery, one thing. I'm not really too worried about it. I can flip it over, throw it over, and then I can switch over to thermal if I need to. This is really just for like movements for my PVS-14, and then any quick acquisition, and we'll talk about that later with the PEC style box with the laser identifier there. On the side here, I always have some kind of light, some kind of operational light. This happens to be a stream light. It's called a Sidewinder stock. I like this one a lot. I like that it's flexible. I can kind of put it where I need to put it, and it's just easy to turn on, easy to turn off. I like the fact that it also uses AA, AAA, or CR123. It's really convenient for, if you have the battery on the battlefield, I mean, you're going to find a AA, a AAA, or a CR123. No problem. So absolutely love having that adaptability there. Slides right on the arc rail mounts. It's wonderful. Go to the inside. What I have here is I have the hardhead veterans. I absolutely love this stuff. I've got long hair. I sweat a lot. So for me, I'm trying to stay as cool as possible. They have this, it seems to me to be a 3D printed material, but it's this lattice structure, and it works wonderfully. It breathes so well when you're out and moving around, and there's no hot spots. So if you are used to the traditional, memory foam helmet mounts or helmet setups, they always give me hot spots. Like right on the top of my head, on the back of my head a lot. With this, I don't get any hot spots at all. Absolutely love it. Use a Team Wendy for my retention. It's got a boa on the back. Absolutely love that as well. That was a game changer for me. It's just super easy and convenient. And if somebody needs to borrow my helmet for a different mission or something like that, they can borrow it, run it, easy adaptability. Absolutely love it. On the rear, I have just a battery pouch. I don't run an extra external battery for my PVS-14, one AA, lasts a really long time, especially with lithiums. So I keep some extra 123s back here, some extra AAs and AAAs. It also helps as a little bit of a counterweight, and I keep things that I need there as far as electronics go. For our ear, or for our comms, we use a lot of different things for our comms. We don't just stick to one thing, and it depends what your preference is. If it's hot outside, if it's cold outside, atmospheric conditions, weather conditions, right? Rain, sunshine, right? Whatever you have. For me, what I really love is this right here. It's actually nothing super fancy, nothing even super expensive. It's actually Code Red. So Code Red makes a lot of really nice transducer style bone conducting headsets. If you ever use the ear, the speaker systems, right, that go over the ear, they're really nice. It lets your ear breathe. You can still hear, and you can always throw in a pair of those earbuds that you can hear out of, but they also provide blast protection. That's really great for the hearing protection. And we'll go through one other thing on the hearing protection. By far the best, I didn't bring them, but by far the best hearing protection for omnidirectional that I've used out here is going to be the ops core. They mount obviously right on your rail, but the ops cores, they are absolutely wonderful for immersive 3D sound. One of the other things that I keep on my kit, and this I use so often, if I'm going to be sitting somewhere for a long time and I don't want to have comms on the entire time, it's not a quick run, I'll be there for a couple days, then I'm going to use a different style hearing protection. The hearing protection I use for that is this. If I'm going to be sitting around for a long time, it's going to be these. It's the autos. So the reason why I like the autos, they last so long. It's like, they say 20 hours on the earbud, and then this, the actual case itself, it lasts for months. I mean, I think I charged it once every 4 to 6 months, depending on how much I use them. And I just keep throwing them back in the case. These things are amazing. They do much better in performance than they actually state online, which is fantastic. They surprisingly do have very well omnidirectional sound. I can definitely tell where drones are coming from, where shots are coming from, very accurately, very well. And I can actually do that much better than I can with Peltors. Nothing against Peltors. It's just, if I have to choose, I'm going to choose an earbud like this. These aren't cheap. They're around $500 or so US to get these. I use the Comply ear tips, and the Comply ear tips add an extra dB rating. So whenever we've taken mortar and artillery and different drones and things like that exploding around us, gunshots, everything else, these have protected my ears great. I recently did a hearing study, and I have had no loss in hearing, and I've used these pretty much the entire time. Anytime it is hot weather or warm weather, or even mildly warm weather. And then in the cold, it's the ops core all the way. Ops cores are fantastic, but again, for me, I get hot too quick, so those are winter month items. All right, moving down to the body armor itself. So depending on what we're doing, I'll just go from a light fighter loadout, right? So something where you're going to do more recon, things like that, or you're going to be sitting in position for a while, all the way to a QRF, where you're taking intense firefight. You're going to have a lot of drones, you're going to have a lot of mortars and a lot of grenades going off around you, and then we'll work our way up the chain. So for a basic light fighter setup, and this is as light as I go anywhere in Ukraine. So the reason I go this light in Ukraine is because of all the explosives, all the things moving around. So this will be the lightest that I actually go, and this is a full coverage level 3A, so all the way through. This plate carrier specifically is made by RAROG. And why that's important is because RAROG, I think they've taken a very good approach as far as adapting comfortable and adaptable to the modern day battlefield here in Ukraine, and this could also be used around the world. I absolutely love the setup, the fact that everything's in 3A. Even the shoulder pads are actually done in 3A. So you have coverage here is 3A, coverage here. So all the way around the entire thing, you have the entire plate here. You have a nice bit of coverage for any kind of shrapnel, things like that are going to be flying around. The other thing I love about this plate carrier, incredibly adaptable. I have hard plates inside. We'll talk about those here in a minute. The retention system, this retention system has worked very well for me. It doesn't just snap off. A lot of people are used to the other style clips that some others use, and they basically snap off. The second you pull them, they will snap off. These do not. You pull, they come right off. Very comfortable, very easy. So walking down the plate carrier itself, why I have what I have, we'll start at the top and work our way down. So at the top, we have our V-neck. So this V-neck retention system it's a bungee, and it's for our rifle. It clips in on the back of the rifle here, and it holds. I can sling it out of the way. I can then put it in position here, and it works great. I'll show you that here in a moment. So for the rifle itself, the rifle gets in the way a lot of times, and we have to move people around or move casualties, drag people. Your rifle gets in the way a lot. So what I have is a button system here. This button system goes into this piece here. This being bungee, this clips on to the rifle, and then this can get pushed out of the way and pushed into that clip. And now that holds, and it'll hold against my body like this, and I can do whatever I need to do. I can move things around, I can grab people. I don't have to hand off my rifle, try to throw it around my back, because as soon as you throw it around your back and you try picking up you try picking up casualties or anything like that, then the rifle's always going to sling back around and hit somebody in the face. Typically it's a casualty, you know, and you already feel sorry for them, and now they just got hit in the face with your rifle. So that's a great system there. We'll go over the rifle here in a little bit. So GoPro, I rarely ever use it, but that's there for that. Working down, pistol. So here going through the trenches, all the environment with the dirt and dust and everything else, a pistol and thigh holster, for me it's always just been very difficult to have a pistol and thigh holster, because every time you're going through trenches or things like that, it's constantly scraping against the side and you're getting dirt all over your pistol, you're getting stuff all over your pistol, and what will end up happening is on your pistol, when you do that, even inside a case, this has happened, dirt will start to build up in here, and then it won't be able to extract properly or chamber another round properly. You'll basically be stuck back a little bit like this, and no matter how hard you hit it, it's just like concrete in there. Very difficult. You have to use a metal tool to get out and get that clean. I've already had that happen. That's not a good day when that happens. Now I actually tape over this with a piece of plastic tape, like Scotch tape, and put a little slit in it so the brass will be able to extract, but this will still stay covered and you can keep it as clean as you possibly can as you work through. So that's a pistol mount, and the reason I do that on here is specifically for all the dirt, everything else, and it's very quick to change and get right to your pistol right when you need to, instead of having to go down to your thigh holster or something else. Whenever I'm moving in and out, if I want to lose some weight, I'll take the pistol off, I'll put it in my pocket. Whenever I get closer to some firefighter, some engagement, I'll take it and I'll put it back on the chest and go from there. Working down, I have 5 on the front of my plate carrier. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I used to have 6 up front. It's a lot of leverage weight. It just became too much over time. There's just a lot of weight on the front of this thing. Our plate carriers are getting heavier and heavier and heavier. Our equipment and gear is getting heavier and heavier. So I transitioned it around. It sits a lot lower profile. And I love this. RawRog put these great pull tabs in here. So on these pull tabs, you can just grab this and pull that up and you have your magazine. So these are absolutely fantastic. Love that. They hide away. You don't even feel them there. Works great. Now, I know 5 isn't enough. We always carry more in our pack, and I'll go through the pack here in a second. But one of the things I do, I have the 5, 6, 7 is this here. This is made by Warstrip, but RawRog and a bunch of other companies around the world make this type of setup. The reason why I like this one is because it has a Velcro both sides. You can put it on the back of the plate carrier on the back side. Or what I do, I have pants, and I can actually put this, works great. I can put this right here. It'll hold in place in this location. It doesn't go anywhere, and then now I have the weight that's distributed to my hip and not distributed through the plate carrier. Again, this is all in efforts to keep as much weight off the plate carrier as possible, because it's just way too much on your body. On here I have a dump pouch, which is pretty standard, pretty straightforward. I always keep this as a net, and the reason I keep it as a netted is just in case we have to go in through any water issues. So a lot of times you'll have to exfil, or a lot of times when you exfil, if it's a bad situation, you have to go through a water crossing. You don't want to have a normal dump pouch that's fully solid. All the water gets trapped in it. It's very difficult to work its way through. So keep a mesh at most if you're going to have a dump pouch. Working around the side, what's really important, actually we'll go to the back here. So before we go to the back, going back over the tourniquets, I have 2 tourniquets here on the bungees. So they're easy to pull out. These are for me, one for right leg, one for left leg. I carry one in my left shoulder, one in my right shoulder. Those are for my arms. And then the extras that I carry in my lower, on my left leg and right leg, and those are for buddy aid. We carry more, obviously, but that's what I have here on the kit, on the loadout. All right, now, switching to the back. I have a modified drag handle. So the drag handles that I use are different. I will loop this into the back. I'll use a carabiner and loop it into the back of my, my belt itself. And then from there, you can pull up on this. So this basically goes down, it clips onto my belt. And then if I need to be drugged, this comes out, and now they can pull me from this instead of using the drag handle. The reason that's important is if you use and I would not use this, I would use regular lashing. Works a lot better than this. But the reason this is important, because a lot of people, if they try to drag you from this handle's not good for anything but moving your kit yourself. If you try to drag somebody with this, you're just going to choke them like crazy. So that's why this drag handle, it essentially turns your pants into a harness, so that whenever you pull from the rear, they're pulling on your pants in a harness and dragging you that way. Also, this lashing is longer, so you can get further away from the individual and stand up straight and pull somebody versus getting down and bending over and trying to drag them. Very difficult. All right. The pack itself. For water situations, water scenarios, I have this to where I can take this off, and I can also take it off if I just need to get something myself. So how that works, I have quick disconnects here. I can pop this and then come over here and pop this, and now this entire pack comes off. And I can do the same thing on this side. That's great for, again, water, situations where you're going into water and you need to, jettison this, especially if you have a ton of grenades in here and a ton of extra mags, which is pretty typical. You might have to dump that so you can actually float. We'll talk about floating here in a moment and how to set up the gear for that. And that's it for the actual plate carrier itself. So to finish up the plate carrier, this for me is it's just a godsend. This is awesome. Cry Precision really knocked it out of the park with this item here. It's made to work with and adapt to their system. I've used it and really just kind of modified what I have on my belt, which I'll show you in a moment, to make this work. What this does is this basically, when you put this into a pouch or into another battle belt or something like that, you pull this string, whenever you pull that little lashing, it now increases the gap, and what it does is it pushes the weight and transfers the weight down to your hip. So if you're a hiker, things like that, you know what that does, transferring all that weight down to your hip. So now all that weight is transferred to your hip with this piece. Now again, using their system, you have to use their system in the way they have it set up. Or you can find battle belts that'll work with it, that'll work well. But what I did is, since I don't run a battle belt, what I do is I actually have just regular pistol pouches. So with these pistol pouches, I put that Cry Precision right into here, and then it acts the same way. Put it into there, and then it distributes that weight. So whenever I pull down on those, it lifts up on the entire plate carrier and takes that weight off off my shoulders. And why that's so important is all that weight bearing down, especially with all the kit that we're running nowadays, all that weight bears down, and all that weight's bearing down on your chest, and it's putting pressure on your lungs and your heart, and increasing blood pressure, making it harder to breathe. All these different things that you don't want to have happen. So these really are amazing. If Cry Precision ever hears this, what I would love for them to do is make this adaptable and modular for other people other than just Cry Precision's plate carriers, because not everybody, loves everything about every plate, and some people just like the plate carriers that they like. So if they could adapt this to work with, be modular and work with other systems, that'd be fantastic. Something like this that just goes onto a belt, and then it can transfer to a belt that you already use. If you don't want to use an entire, battle belt, like somebody like me, I don't like wearing an entire battle belt. Also on the back, I have another set of magazines that I can carry as well. Okay, so for supplemental, you want to do additions on top. So if you're going into something, so again, this basic loadout was like for, you're doing recon, something like that, you're going to move a lot, you're doing an assault, but you're not going to go in with just all this extra heavy gear, right? Because you don't know what you're going to come into. So you really take that on more like a recon role. So if you are going to battle up and you are worried about a really intense fight, this is where this comes in. This is also RAW. This is a shoulder system, also extra neck protection, and it really covers those gaps that your plate carrier doesn't cover. This really finishes out all of that, including down to the neck. I love this extra neck piece here because you can actually put this higher. You can put it, lower. You can actually Velcro it in place, and it also has these nice little slips here, so it can go in place as well and move around. So where most they always sit up high and basically make it to where you can't maneuver, this one you can pull out, and when you pull it out, you can move your head and neck around like normal. It's much more comfortable than most systems that I've used and seen. That's that piece. Next we have groin protection. Groin protection, this is also RAW. So the reason I like this is because it does have the movable flaps and still keeps your protection there. I also like that this is adaptable. You can have this go to your plate carrier, or again, I like to transfer my weight down to my hips and not keep all that weight on my shoulders. So I actually connect this on my belt itself, and it sits on my belt. So this is actually one of the first things I put on is this. It clips in place and we're good to go. The next is the thigh protection. The thigh protection, again, this is all one kit from RAW. There's a lot of companies that make these kits, but is really nice. This goes through here, and this basically just sits here. What I also like about this is they also thought about the weaving molly. So if you want to, you can put extra tourniquets here, whatever the case is, whatever you're using, whatever you might need it for. You can put different items here, but this covers as well and picks up the rest of the gap between the groin protection and the thigh protection. So it really gives you some good stuff, because as you know, if you get hit basically anywhere above here, you're gonna have a real bad day. And last piece for armor is shoulder. So this here is Hoplite. The reason I like this, Hoplite. And the reason I like this Hoplite is because it does take a certain level of armor-piercing rounds. I believe it's a 7.62 by 39 as well. I don't believe this does 5.56 green tip. It may, not sure, but I know that they sell a variant that does, but mine may specifically not. What I do here is I'll basically attach this to my plate carrier, and that'll be hard armor. And then I'll put that same hard armor on the side, and I already have hard armor in here. And what that does is it gives me full coverage on my dominant side whenever I'm moving into something. If I need a back away, I kind of curl out to that position, so it has that nice coverage there. And I've seen a lot of people obviously get hit in the arms and right through there in that gap. So it works out really, really well. Okay, so when thinking about your gear altogether, if you're coming to Ukraine for this, or if you're around a lot of waterways, things like that, or you're worried about some kind of water operation, I would definitely say make sure that you think about everything from head to toe when it comes to floatability, things like that. My inside plates are Frass. Frass is made by Safe Life, I believe, and you just look up Frass, F-R-A-S. And the reason I like them, they are floatable. They work great. The side protection, they have armor-piercing capabilities, or they take armor-piercing rounds up to a certain point. You'll have to look online. They have various options. But I love those because they are floatable. Their side plates are floatable. Even the 3A, I make sure that the 3A that I buy, the soft armor, I make sure that it's fully sealed. They'll have, like, you can see like an actual seal on them, and those are also floatable. So all those different items add up, right, for floatability, all the way down to the shoes that you wear. The shoes that I wear are Solomon's. You'll see those in a moment, but Solomon shoes, they are great for traction, everything else, shed water easily, breathe very well. Very light, very, very light and maneuverable, and they also float as well, so I don't have to take those off if I get into the water. So my plate, with my kit on, with my shoes on, with everything on, I can get in the water and I can float comfortably as if I have a life jacket on, which is fantastic. Now, when it comes down to the backpack itself, and when it comes to depending what you have in there, right? If you have a lot of grenades and a lot of ammo, you're gonna need to jettison that. You're gonna need to get rid of it. That's where I have those pop straps. I can pop it off and it goes away and I don't have to worry about it. Now I'm just down to my plate, which is my plate carrier by itself. Even with 3 mags in the front, I have to dump 2, but even with 3 mags in the front, lose the pistol. And this is a floatable setup. I have positive buoyancy when I'm in the water. I don't even have to tread water, which is a huge thing for cramping and issues like that may come up whenever you end up with a water entry. The other thing that I'll do is I will drink as much water as I can, as fast as I can, and then I will spit out as much of the water that I cannot drink, and then I'll blow back into this, and then I'll close it back. And you gotta remember, that's just an extra flotation device, right? As I'm blowing back into that, I'm filling up that bladder with air, and that's also some extra flotation device. So I very comfortably can do anything near the water, or if I have to worry about exfils when there's a waterway. I don't have a problem with that. If I need to do anything with any boat crossings, anything like that, don't have to worry about it. So definitely something to think about when you're putting your kit together. You know, I know steel plates are inexpensive, but I would definitely stay away from steel plates. They're very heavy, and just, you know, spend the money once and just be done with it, or get it issued to you. So the shoes I wear, I talked about floatable shoes, and you can use any brand you want, just make sure that they're floatable. But I like the Solomons, and the reason I like the Solomons is because they're ultra lightweight. They have very aggressive grip. For me, it's not a sales pitch to them, but I absolutely love these shoes. I've used all their different varieties. They have very aggressive treads on them. They work great in the sand, and just basically anywhere in Ukraine I've used them, they've worked fantastically. So I absolutely love these shoes. And then as far as the pants go, the pants, you can use whatever you want. These happen to be UF Pro. The reason I like UF Pro, they just have a lot of ventilation. There's also some pants that are made here in Ukraine called M-Tech, and M-Tech makes very great pants as well for flow and things like that. So just make sure you have something that you can use in the winter, and you can also use in the summer. You can zip it up because you have some cold nights and you have some warm days. So these are great. Anything that has a lot of openings so you can cool yourself off quickly, but then at night you can zip everything up and stay nice and warm. Okay, so moving on to the rifle. So the rifle is a pretty simple setup when it comes to thermal optic. I actually won't go out unless I have a thermal optic. I've gone out with red dots and it's great, but unless you're doing an entirely day, and even still, I want to have a thermal. So if I do for some reason switch over to just a, if we're doing just day operations and I switch over to a red dot, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, and I really always have it on me, I carry it in a pouch, I have a thermal hand rig, so I can actually scan with the thermal. You do want that thermal capability. It is definitely a force multiplier. You should have a thermal capability of some kind. I prefer to have it as a scope, and then I even have the backup, so as I'm walking, I can just look with a thermal scope. As I'm going, I can scan, and then if I see something, I can take a better look with my thermal scope itself. This one in particular is the Wrath 4K made by Sightmark. It is fantastic, waterproof, done me well, has recording capabilities. You can put an external battery pack on it. It's fantastic, and this was actually pretty inexpensive. I think it was just over $1,000 or so. Can't say enough about this. This thing's been amazing. For a backup site, this is something I bought in Ukraine. Nothing special. It's just a backup red dot site with a nice view. Just make sure you get a decent one that has enough optic window that it's not difficult to get your sight picture. And I always make sure that if I'm going out, I want to make sure that I can hit around a half silhouette body size target with this at 300 meters. If you can hit 300 meters with this, then that's more than enough and adequate for what you're doing. But just don't zero in at that, but just make sure that you can hit that with this. And that works great, just a quick backup sight. As far as laser system, this is a 4-in-1, so you have infrared laser, visible laser, infrared light, white light. You don't need all those options. It's great to have. This is a great device here. This is just a Holosun, which there's so many out there that are so great. This one's just pretty affordable. But when it comes down to the sight itself, the actual like PEC style box, really what you need is a white light and an infrared laser. The white light is for going into blindage, going into trenches or bunkers or anything like that, where you need that quick white light. You're definitely gonna need that white light, and you may not even have nods because it may be a day operation, but you definitely need that white light, even in daytime, going into blindages and things like that. And then the infrared laser is just nice to have because when you do go under nods and you're doing something at night, you have the infrared laser. It is difficult to look down sights. It's difficult to fire, with night vision on in the first place, so it's great to have a zeroed in IR laser. We make sure that ours is that we can hit effectively anything from obviously, close range, 10 meters or so, all the way out to 200 meters. We'll pop 300-meter shots just to make sure, but definitely want a laser that can at least do that and be able to hold zero at 300 meters. Moving down to the suppressor. The suppressor is ultra lightweight. This is a Nielsen, and it's called a Sonic. This has an oversized expansion chamber. You can get these here in Ukraine. These are great. They're not fully auto rated, but they do work for full auto. I've never had any issues with it on full auto. Fantastic. Again, I don't like the big heavy steel ones. I know they're full auto rated. This works just fine for full auto. I've had no issues with it. I've dumped so many rounds through this thing. It's fantastic. It comes with a little plastic sleeve, a little polymer sleeve. Throw that thing away. It's not good for anything. It's just going to melt on your barrel. But this is fantastic for that. Going into taping, always tape your barrel. Always tape your barrel off before you go out. Make sure that you're not going to get anything down in there. And then also tape off the dust cover. So we have a lot of problems with sand entry and stuff like that going through the trenches, getting in through here, and then you have a lot of problems as time goes on. It's just not a good situation. Tape this off. It works really, really well. Very simple, very straightforward. Also tape off the back, throw some extra 123, some extra batteries in there. That's fantastic as well. And then on the bottom, I like having a pistol grip. And then inside that pistol grip, this is a mag pull specifically, but I'll have an Allen key for the gas block and just some other stuff, cloth to clean the lenses and things like that, just some other little things. Sometimes I'll put some batteries in there and whatnot. But we have an adjustable gas block. You want to be able to adjust that gas block if you have an issue out in the field. For the magazine itself, this here is Cry Precision. This is an extra piece. I like having these on. I don't have them on all my magazines because those are obviously in my kit, but all my extra magazines, I have these on the extra magazines. Reason being is they clip quickly into a pocket. You can throw extra mags on you in side pockets, on your belt. They actually weave in a molly. You can throw it on molly quickly. If you have the thigh, you can put it on the thighs, and you can put 2 on each. It's a lot of extra ammo that you can throw on very easily, and they're very lightweight, very easy to install. So I do like these a lot. They work very, very well. Okay, one of the other things on the rifle that works incredibly well, this isn't actually a Magpul, but Magpul makes them. There's a bunch of aftermarket manufacturers. It was called a BAD lever, B-A-D, by Magpul. This works great for reloading and rechambering rounds and then locking it to the rear. It's great for the bolt itself. And then the last piece on the weapon is the internals. The internals are Daniel Defense here in country on these UARs. I actually switched my BCG out for I believe it's called nickel boron BCG. So I like it because you know, the lubricant properties, things like that. It doesn't gall as much, and it flows so smooth under full auto fire. Absolutely love it. Not that there's much wrong with the standard BCGs, but I just prefer something like that that's not going to have a lot of galling and is not, you don't have to use so much lubricant on all the time, because you can go sometimes days without being able to get any lubricant on these things. All right, and everybody, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. We all appreciate your time. Thank you for taking the interest in the gear. If you're someone coming to Ukraine, thank you for coming. Thank you for your support. Also, for the people that don't come for the fight itself or don't come for humanitarian aid, we do greatly appreciate your donations. We have a link below. In that donation, we will be getting thermals, we will be getting, you know, night vision, all this critical gear that you see that helps our war fighters on the front lines have a more aggressive fight. That's what you're donating to. There's no BS contribution here. It's going directly towards zero line gear and equipment. That's what this drive is for. So we greatly appreciate it. Thank you for support and contribution, and Slava Ukraini.